Good afternoon, students. Let's start quickly.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon.
Let us first
Good
talk
afternoon.
about a bit. Good afternoon, Beta. We'll talk a bit about the chapters which are left, and then we'll discuss certain other things. Today your class will get over 5 minutes early. I hope you know all your class duration is shortened down by 5 minutes. Are you aware?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So happy now?
Yes.
Half an hour less teaching, 5 minutes in all 6 periods makes it how many? Makes it less, half an hour less now. So you'll be free by 1:15 now every day. I think that's the right time you'll be free. You can have your lunch. Okay, very quickly, children. The first chapter of your syllabus is Living World. Have you done the chapter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me see how
Yes,
many of
ma'am.
you are mentally present. Next, Biological Classification, second chapter. Have you done this?
No, ma'am.
Biology,
No, ma'am.
we have not
No,
done
ma'am.
No,
this.
ma'am.
So, yes, one of you will keep noting down what we have not done. We have not done chapter 2. Chapter 3 is Plant Kingdom. Have you done Plant Kingdom?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Very good. Chapter 4 is Animal Kingdom. Have you done Animal Kingdom?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, we have not done. Thank God you people know. So chapter 2 and chapter 4 is not done. Chapter 5 is Morphology of Flowering Plants. Have you done this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Chapter 6 is Anatomy of Flowering Plants. Have you done this?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Chapter 7 is Structural Organization in Animals. Have you done this?
No, ma'am. No,
We
ma'am.
have not. I'm not talking about the deleted parts and all. As of now, I'm just talking about the chapters. Okay. I think I discussed that cockroach is not there in this chapter. All those things we'll take up later. So 2, 4, and 7. Chapter 8 is Cell, the Unit of Life.
I'm done.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Chapter 9 is Biomolecules.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am.
Cell cycle. Chapter 10, Cell Cycle and Cell Division.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am. I'm done.
Trans- Transport in plants.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Micronutrition.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Photosynthesis in higher plants.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Respiration
Yes,
in
ma'am.
plants.
Yes.
Respiration in plants.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Plant growth and development.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
Ma'am.
Digestion and absorption. Though
No,
most
ma'am.
of the chapter,
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
16, 20, and 21, almost 75% of the chapter is cut off. Chapter 16, chapter 20, and chapter 21. Only 2, 3 topics are there in this. Rest entire thing is cut off. Anyways, chapter 7, breathing and exchange of gases is done.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Yes. And then chemical coordination and integration. We did this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I talk about the second part of the syllabus, then we are left with 2 chapters here, main 2 chapters, that is body fluid circulation and excretory products and the elimination. Okay. I'm talking about the second part. There are 22 chapters. So if I start from the 11th chapter, if I start seeing from the 11th chapter, and 16, 20, and 21 are almost cut. So body fluid circulation and excretory products and elimination. These 2 main chapters are left. And then of course, biological classification and animal kingdom. So we are left with 4 main chapters there. Then after these 4 main chapters, we will be left with little parts of these 3 chapters, and biomolecules, of course, a big chapter, a very difficult chapter. So 4 simple chapters and 5, one difficult chapter. October is there. So I think we need to speed up a bit in those chapters where we can speed up. I'm starting with the 18th chapter, that is body fluids in circulation. I have taken this chapter because it's an easy chapter and you know a bit about it. We're talking about blood and lymph. Simple organisms such as sponges and coelentrates have simple body organization. I think sponges you already know. Do you know about coelentrates? Any idea about coelentrates? Anybody? Any example of coelentrate or any idea of coelentrates? Beta, whatever comes in your mind, you can always discuss. It's not important that only if you know the correct answer, then you need to answer. Any idea about coelentrates? What are coelentrates?
Simplest metazoa, Euspongilla.
Okay, I'm trying to understand what you said. Speak again, Beta. No idea about coelentrates, children? Never mind.
Ma'am,
Beta,
they are
their
like a
name.
fish.
They're tube-like structures, organisms, jellyfish and all.
Jellyfishes, sea anemones. So basically, invertebrates, which are mainly aquatic. Two words, if you remember about coelentrates, it will be easy for you to remember. They are invertebrates, aquatic animals. Like we just now got an example of jellyfish, even the corals and all. They basically have a tube-shaped body or a cup-shaped body. So this is the only thing as of now you need to remember about coelentrates. The body is cup-shaped or it is tube-shaped. And they are aquatic invertebrate animals. Tell me two things you'll all remember about coelentrates. Number one, the body is like
Cup shape or tube shape?
yes, it's cup shaped or it is tube shaped. And second, they are invertebrate animals. What is their habitat?
Aquatic.
Yes, they're aquatic animals. See, they generally have a single opening in their body. That is why we call them as simple organisms. So when we're talking about simple organisms, we have given two examples, sponges and coelentrates. Their body is very simple. They are in direct contact with the atmosphere. Thus, they do not require any circulatory system. They instead circulate water from their surroundings into their body cavities. Directly, they can take water from their surroundings. They don't need any transport system as such. Their body itself is like a cup or a tube. So directly, they take water from the surrounding. This facilitates the cells to exchange gases and excretory substances with immediate surroundings. Now, the exchange of gases, exchange of excretory substance is done directly with the help of surroundings. They do not have any proper excretory system or circulatory system. But this is possible only in simple organisms like sponges and coelentrates. Is it okay with the first paragraph? Those organisms which are simple, for example, sponges and coelentrates, they are in direct contact with the atmosphere. They are in direct contact with the surroundings. So all the exchange of gases, excretion, they don't need any proper systems. But if we talk about complex organisms, let's take our own example. Special fluids are used to transport these substances within the body. If we feel that we, as complex multicellular organisms, can function without a transport system, is it possible?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Possible, very good. Because all the organs of the human body are not in direct contact with the surroundings. So if something has to reach your heart is not in direct contact with the surroundings. If something has to reach your lungs are not in direct contact with your surroundings. That is the way we need some medium which should carry these things to the target organs. So mainly we are talking about two fluids which are involved as carriers in the body. Which are the two fluids very quickly? It is blood and lymph. So what are the two fluids which act as carriers in complex organisms?
Blood and
lymph.
Blood is a special connective tissue. It comprises of a fluid matrix, plasma, and certain elements. We'll study about blood in detail in this chapter. Plasma, it forms the fluid medium in which the blood cells float. So what is plasma? It is basically the fluid medium. What is fluid?
Liquid in state.
Good, but what does the word fluid mean?
Which can flow.
One thick liquid substance.
Yes. Basically, a substance which can flow, you must have studied about this, and which does not have a fixed shape. That is what we call as a fluid. Something which can flow, does not have a fixed shape, So that is what we call as a fluid. So nothing more important than this. These two paragraphs are just an introduction. Name two simple organisms which do not have a proper circulatory or excretory system. Name them.
Sponges and coelacanth. Sponges and coelentrates.
Sponges and coelentrates. Coelentrates have which shaped body? Dash or dash shape. What are the shapes?
Tubular or
Tube-like or cup-like.
When I say coelentrates, I mean aquatic dash animals. Vertebrates or invertebrates?
Invertebrate.
Invertebrate.
Then we moved on to complex organisms. We said we have two fluids for transportation. Which were the two fluids?
Blood and lymph.
And blood.
Blood is a connective tissue. So we're going to study about these in detail. Plasma is the fluid medium in which your blood cells float. So your blood cells are floating in a fluid, and that fluid is what we call as plasma. Let us study about plasma a little more in detail. It's a simple chapter. Plasma is straw colored.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Peter.
Ma'am, yesterday we did the slow acting hormones, but we didn't study the quick acting hormones.
With the quick acting hormones, I showed you with the help of that diagram that they have to attach to the plasma membrane. Okay, they attach to the plasma membrane. If you've not understood that part, I can take up that PDF again tomorrow. Not a problem. Okay. If you want that fast acting hormones in details, I'll pick up the PDF again tomorrow. Last 10 minutes or something, I'll take up that topic again. No issues. Okay.
Okay,
No
ma'am.
problem.
Thank you.
Once I've started this, I'll take up that thing again for you tomorrow. What is a straw in Hindi? What is straw? Just remind me. I'll just start with the second part. I'll give you again that part tomorrow. Yes, beta, what is straw in Hindi?
Bhusa.
Yes, you're right. Have you seen bhusa? What is the color approximately? कैसा होता है? Yellow, green, blue, red, brown?
Yes.
Yellow.
Yes, it's somewhat yellowish brown. So plasma is straw colored, not yellow, something yellowish brown. Viscous. What is viscous, children? These are the common words in science which I have seen that people use for years, but we are not sure about their meaning. So I just want to confirm. What is viscous?
Thick.
Thick or dense.
Jelly-like.
Okay. So when I
Sticky
say
and thick.
viscous,
Thick
when I
dense
say
fluid.
viscous, is it thicker than solids?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Is it thicker than liquids?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thicker than liquids. A viscous substance is thicker than liquid? All of you agree?
Yes,
ma'am.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
That means very good. So viscous is somewhere whose thickness is between which two mediums? Just now we discussed solid and
Solids and
Liquid.
Solid and
liquid.
liquid.
and we also have one important feature of most of the viscous substances that they are a bit sticky. So two characteristic features of mainly viscous substances are number one, they are sticky and their thickness is somewhere between solids and liquids. That means they're less thick than solids, but they're more thick than liquids. So plasma is straw colored. It is viscous. When I say viscous, it means it is sticky and it is thicker than liquids. Slightly alkaline. What do you mean by alkaline here? What must be the pH?
Basic in
Basic.
nature.
More than 7.
Basic.
Above 7 pH.
More than 7.
pH is 7.
More than 7. More than 7.
Excellent, but it is written slightly alkaline. That means not a higher range of basicity. Aqueous body fluid. What is aqueous? What do you mean by aqueous solution? What is the word?
Solution in water.
Very good. The word aqua means water. So anything which has aqueous is anything which has water is called aqueous. Okay, remember, whenever the word aqueous is used, it means it contains water. The word aqueous comes from the word aqua, and aqua means water. So let's have the features of plasma very quickly. Straw colored, viscous, slightly alkaline, aqueous body fluid, and it forms 55% of your blood. Everybody is clear with these terms? Straw colored, viscous, slightly alkaline, and aqueous body fluid?
Yes.
Yes,
How much percent
ma'am.
of the
Yes,
how much percent of your blood is plasma?
55%. 55%.
55. Let's come to composition of plasma. Why they are late today? Children, one by one. Composition of plasma, it is made up of many organic and inorganic substances. 90 to 92% is water and 6 to 8% of solutes. How much percent of water?
90 to
92.
92.
That is why we had used the word, what word we use for plasma?
Aqueous.
Aqueous for the fluid.
Very good, very good. And how much percent of solutes in this?
6 to 8.
6 to 8.
6 to 8%.
So which are these 6 to 8% solutes? Let's do this. The solutes found in plasma are the ions. Like, please name these. Let me see if you can relate. You must be knowing the formulas, I'm sure. Which ion is this?
Sodium ion.
Sodium ion.
Then what about the second one?
Magnesium ion.
Magnesium ion.
Next.
Calcium.
Calcium ion.
And the last one?
Bicarbonate ion.
Bicarbonate ion.
Bicarbonate.
Very good. So when we talk about solutes, we have 4 types of main ions: sodium, magnesium, calcium, bicarbonate. We also have glucose and traces of other sugars. Of course, glucose is there, but minute amount of other sugars are also there. It could be fructose, it could be galactose. Plasma proteins, amino acids, hormones, cholesterols, lipids, urea, waste, and other organic acids. So there are so many things which the 6 to 8% forms. Okay, let me have this very quickly. Let me tell you about these. Factors for clotting or coagulation of blood are also present actively in the plasma. One very important thing which is present in the plasma is the clotting factor. What is clotting? What do you mean by
Flowing of
clotting?
blood.
Because speaking.
Formation of a clot over injured.
Normal
Accumulation.
coagulation of blood and clotting of blood is what? Beta, basically,
The
you
blood
are right.
dries up at a certain place when there is an injury
Yes.
and the bleeding
Then what
stops then.
happens? Excellent. But do you know why it stops? Why it stops by clotting? Dekho beta, I'll tell you very simple. Blood changes into a gel. Blood changes into a gel because of a factor present in the plasma, because of a certain factor protein which is present in the plasma. So the blood, it changes into what? It changes into a gel, which you normally call as a blood clot. And what she said just now, perfectly what she said is, the blood stops flowing on the damaged area. What is this term called in medical science? The stopping of blood loss from a damaged part of a body. Any idea? It starts from H. It is called hemostasis. What is it called? Hemostasis. Sometimes in postmortem reports in deaths, it is written. Okay? Hemostasis did not take place. So excess blood flow led to the death of the individual. If you ever get to read some postmortem reports where there is an injury and the person has succumbed to injuries, there's a lot of blood loss. So generally such kind of postmortem reports, you will find the word hemostasis. 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 What is hemostasis? The ceasing of the blood loss from a damaged vessel. Is it okay for everybody? You remember this word? Hemostasis? So factors for clotting or coagulation of blood are also present in the plasma. Plasma without the blood clotting factors is called serum. So what is the difference between plasma and serum now? Plasma contains what? Which factor?
Clotting factor.
Blood clotting factor.
Yes, blood clotting factor. And if we remove the blood clotting factor from plasma, then we're going to call it as what? What is it called as?
Serum.
Serum. So if we have serum, okay, in an individual's body in place of plasma, will ever blood clotting or coagulation take place?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Very good. Serum does not play a role in clotting at all. Please remember, it is the plasma which plays the role in clotting, not the serum. Let me very quickly go back to plasma. It is mainly what? 90 to 92% of what?
Water.
Water.
And how much percent of solutes in this?
6 to 8%.
6 to 8%.
Name the ions which are present in plasma.
Sodium, magnesium,
Sodium ion,
calcium,
magnesium, and
bicarbonate.
bicarbonate ions.
Apart from this, many other things are present. You may not learn all simple ones you learn. You learn sugars, amino acids,
Glucose,
cholesterol, glucose, anything simple. Now we come to the
hormone.
main. Something beta, which is easy for you to remember. Factors for clotting or coagulation are present where? In the plasma or in the serum?
Plasma.
Plasma.
And plasma without the blood clotting factor is called as
Serum.
serum. And I also gave you a term hemostasis. Please remember that. And remember clotting kaise hoti hai? That blood changes into gel. Blood is a thin liquid. It will come out very easily. But if it is gel, then it will form a layer. Clot ban jati hai, and this is how the blood stops. You must have heard about a disease, children, where blood clotting does not take place. I think in 9th or 10th. What is the name of the disease? Also called as the royal disease. Some individuals, they have this disorder कि अगर उनको थोड़ा सा भी चोट लगता है तो blood never stops. Blood clotting नहीं होता है. What is the disease called as?
Hemophilia.
Hemophilia.
Yes, very good. And why is it called as a royal disease?
Ma'am, because Queen
British royal
Victoria
family
and
has
yes, ma'am.
Very good. It's
Because
there
it
in the
started with the royal families in England, maybe.
basically this problem, this disorder is present in the royal family of England, that is Queen Victoria, from many generations. It passes on, and it is that it's a basically disease which passes on from one generation to the next. So this is a disorder which is present in the royal family. If you read about the palace of Queen Victoria family, you will find that there are no edges in the palace. Nothing. No tables, no furniture has edges. Everything is given a round shape, a curved shape. Why do you think this must be done?
To avoid
that if
injuries.
they fall, they do not get injuries.
To avoid injuries.
Yes, galti se bhi there should be no injury, because if there's an injury, then the blood is not going to stop. There is no blood clotting in that case. So it turns to be fatal at times. So if you read about the interiors of this palace, Buckingham Palace, if you've heard about this, it's very specially built, keeping in mind about this royal disorder, hemophilic disorder. So we are going to talk about this only. Let's go next. Plasma protein. So what must be lacking in their blood? What is lacking in that blood, royal blood?
Plasma.
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 Plasma to hai beta. Plasma is there. But
Clotting
what is
factor.
lacking? Yes, the clotting factor.
Clotting factor.
Yes, clotting factor is lacking. Let's move on to plasma proteins now. Plasma proteins, the proteins found in plasma are important. अभी पढ़ा था viscosity. What is viscosity, children? No idea? Sure, should I tell?
Thickness.
Thickness. And the more the thick it will be, the less it will flow. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So viscous, just now we did a term viscous. I think we had done the term viscous and we said it is thicker. Now this is a term which is called viscosity. What is viscosity? It is actually the property by which fluids show resistance to flow. So the more thicker they are, the more resistant they will be to flow. The more slowly they will flow. This property is called viscosity. So what is viscosity in physics? It's a very common term. It is the measure of a fluid's resistance to flow. How much can a fluid, a liquid or a gas show resistance to flow? Kitna slow flow karega? Obviously, the thicker it is, the less would be the speed. Let's relate this. Proteins found in the plasma are important because they're responsible for providing viscosity to the plasma. They make it thicker and they make it slower to flow. The major proteins found in the plasma are, now we need to learn these proteins, beta. Fibrinogen. Speak out the proteins with me. Which is the first one?
Fibrinogen.
Fibrinogen. Second is globulins. Speak out the next one.
Globulins.
Why everybody is not speaking? Please speak out. Globulins. And the third is albumins. Quickly name the three proteins. Which is the first one?
Fibrinogen.
Fibrinogen, globulins, albumins.
Albumins.
Not to go into detail, but remember this fibrinogen beta. This is made in the liver. Okay. And it goes to the blood of all the vertebrates basically. And whenever there is an injury, it is this which converts into that layer, thrombin layer, which we call, which leads to blood clotting. So basically, which is the plasma protein which is leading to blood clotting? Please name this. What is the name?
Fibrinogen.
So we were talking about the main plasma proteins. Which is the first plasma protein? Tell me.
Fibrinogen.
What is the main function of fibrinogens?
Blood clotting.
Clotting.
Yes. Now we move on to the second kind of protein, plasma protein, that is globulins. Have you heard about globulins? They are proteins which have a very high molecular weight beta. They are also some of them are produced in the liver only, and they are blood proteins basically. What are these called as? Globulins. What is the function of globulin in the body? See beta, basically first remember what are globulins? They are proteins and they're made in the liver. Who's going to make this? Basically, they are going to help you in the functioning of the liver for fighting infections. So let's come to the second one, that is globulin. What we need to remember, it is made where?
Liver.
Liver.
It is made in the liver and they help to maintain the functions of the liver and to fight against the infections. Also a little bit role in clotting is there. Globulins. Which is the third kind of protein?
Albumin.
Albumins.
Have you heard about the albumin part? Albumin word?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Where have you heard this?
Egg. Yellow start.
Yes, you heard this. So basically, very good. This is again a protein which is made by your liver only. And how does it help you?
Albumin is the white part, no?
Beta, yolk and albumin. Achha, she said white. Or yolk is the yellow one, albumin is the white one. You're talking about the egg.
I got confused.
Yolk is the middle one, that yellow one. Okay. Albumin is made in which part of the body?
Liver.
Yes, this is also made in the liver. This is also made in the liver only. How does it help you? See beta, it helps you that the fluid in your bloodstream does not leak to other tissues. Whatever is flowing in your blood should not leak out to other tissues. This main function is being taken care of whom? It is going to be taken care of albumin. It is going to carry hormones, vitamins, enzymes, and also ensure that it does not leak out from the blood cells to other cells. So plasma proteins, proteins found in plasma, what are they called as? Plasma proteins. They are responsible because they give what to the plasma? What are they giving to the plasma?
Viscosity.
Viscosity is that thickness which makes it slow in flowing. Can you name the three main proteins of the plasma?
Fibrinogen.
Globulins, albumins.
Okay. Let's talk about the functions of the plasma. They help in transport and uniform distribution of heat all over the body. They provide the body immunity, maintenance of the blood pH. They help in prevention of blood loss. If you add on all these functions, they'll come here. Fibrinogen helps in blood clotting. Globulin helps in defense mechanism. And albumin maintains your osmotic balance. What is albumin going to do? Basically, it is going to maintain your osmotic balance, lot of things in the tube. It will make sure that they're not passing on to the other tissues. So these are the main functions of plasma. What is this word? Formed elements. Blood corpuscles are also known as formed elements. We all know what are blood corpuscles, but the other name for blood corpuscles is formed elements. So the formed elements of blood corpuscle, when I say, I mean the erythrocytes, that is the RBCs, the leukocytes, that is the WBCs, and the platelets. So all three of them till now you call them as blood corpuscles. What is the other name of these? What is the other name we've learned today?
Formed elements.
Formed elements.
Very good. 45% of your blood is actually these formed elements. Let's talk about RBCs. They are the most abundant of all cells found in the body. You know that they are red in color due to the presence of a pigment which is known as hemoglobin. Hemoglobin carries, it's a carrier of which gas?
Oxygen.
So the formation of RBCs takes place in the bone marrow in the adults. Nothing complicating here. Let's talk about the shape, size, and structures. They have a biconcave disc-shaped cells, diameter of about 7 to 8 microns. Tell me how much is the diameter of an average RBC cell?
7 to 8
7
microns.
to 8 microns.
7 to 8 micron.
There is one thing very special about RBCs, beta, जो हमें जरूर याद रखना है, that there are no cell organelles found in it. Please remember this. There are no cell organelles found in it. That is why the shape of the RBCs are slightly variable. All RBC shapes are not the same. Reason being, there are no cell organelles in it. And the whole volume is just filled with what? It is filled with hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is not that solid substance to give it a constant shape. So look at this line again. Shape of RBCs is slightly variable because what is not present in the RBCs?
Cell organelles.
So if they are not present, then the entire volume, the entire space inside the RBC is filled with what?
Hemoglobin.
The entire thing is filled with. If we talk about a healthy individual, has about 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin in every 100 milliliters of blood. So when we test for the amount, when you go for a blood test and test for hemoglobin, the doctors say it is low. How do they test out? The normal standard rate is 100 ml of blood. How much it is? How many grams?
12 to 16.
12 to 16 grams.
So do they take out 100 ml of your blood and check out that, oh, there is 12 grams or not? When you go for a blood test for hemoglobin, anemia and all. How do they find out? Do they take 100 grams of blood?
No. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Then how do they find out? Have you ever thought? How do
Ma'am, they
find
find
out?
average.
Yes, something like unitary method you must have done. 100 milliliters, it's somewhere around 16 grams. So 1 milliliter is 16 by 100. So whatever amount of blood you have given, 16 upon 100 into that milliliter of blood. This is how we simply calculate. Of course, they will not take 100 ml of blood. So most important thing about RBC is what is the average diameter?
7 to 8 microns.
7 to 8 micron.
7 to 8 micron.
Why is the shape slightly variable?
Because no organelles are found in it. Organelles.
Then what is filled inside them? If normally every cell has its own cell organelles. If this does not have, then what is
Hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin.
Very good. Then 100 ml of a normal healthy person will contain how many grams of hemoglobin?
12 to 16 grams.
16 grams. Let's talk about the number of RBCs now. In men, the average number of RBCs is about 5 to 5.5 millions. 5 to 5.5 millimeter cube of blood. But in women, the average number is about 4 to 4.5. Normally, it is said that women are more anemic. You must have come across this concept many times. Okay? That ज़्यादा problem होता है of RBCs in women comparatively. And there are 100 logics given which are related to conventional things like menstrual cycle and all. But this is entirely wrong. Okay? The main fact is this, that in men, the average number of RBCs is how much?
5 to 5.5 million per cubic millimeter.
So if I take out 1 cubic millimeter of blood from any student, my boy student over here, how many millions RBCs would be there?
5 to
5 to 5.5.
provided that the person is healthy.
Half. That is, of course, the condition, and you hardly come across such people these days. And if it is an average healthy girl, women, then average would be how much?
4 to 4.5.
4.5.
The general perception in the society is they become anemic because of loss of blood due to menstrual cycle every month, which is entirely wrong. That is not the factor. It is this, the reason is this. See the difference, 5 to 5.5, and here it is 4.4 to 4.5. How much is the difference? Let me check your maths. Let's make it a little interesting, fun. How much
1
is the
million.
difference?
1 million.
Yes.
1 million.
1 million. How much of blood? 1 million entire one, or only in a definite amount?
In per cubic
In
centimeter.
5.5 million per cubic millimeter. So 1 cubic millimeter, the difference is 1 million. Got my point? So you can imagine how many cubic millimeters of blood. So what is the total difference which is coming? Lifespan of RBCs is only 120 days, after which they become non-functional and they get destroyed. And where are they getting destroyed in? They get destroyed in spleen. So spleen is known as the graveyard of RBCs. This is again for competitions. Which part is known as the graveyard of RBCs?
Spleen.
Spleen.
And why do you think it is called as a graveyard?
Because their RBCs are destroyed.
RBCs get
This
destroyed.
is the place where RBC is destroyed.
Okay. Basically, why do they get destroyed so soon?
They do not have nucleus.
Because they don't have
have
their
a
own cell
nucleus of
organelles.
their own.
Cell
And they
organelles.
don't have cell organelles.
Good. So you're aware of this. So spleen is the graveyard of RBCs. The process of disintegration of RBCs occurs in the liver. The Kappa cells of the liver help in complete disintegration process. We have special cells in the liver who help in this process of disintegrating the RBCs. They are known as Kappa cells. The hemoglobin is disintegrated to release iron. Now, when hemoglobin will get disintegrated, what is released, children? Iron is released. Okay, we are talking about the disintegration of RBCs. When hemoglobin will get disintegrated, it will release iron. Free iron is transported back to the bone marrow, and the debris that remains forms two toxic pigments, bilirubin and biliverdin. Okay, the remaining membrane of RBC, which is known as the ghost. Why do we call it ghost? Because there is no hemoglobin now. So it's all khali, only the outer membrane is there. So we call it as ghost. In movies, you see some movies, they show only one sheet is flying or a cloth is flying, that is shown as a ghost. Means andar kuch nahi hai, all khali. So because your RBC is all khali now, the hemoglobin is all destroyed. So we call it as a ghost. This is transported to the spleen and then it gets destroyed. Let me do this with you again, how the RBCs get destroyed. Dekho beta, the disintegration process, the breaking process starts in the liver. Is it okay for everybody? Abhi humne kya padha? What is the graveyard of RBCs?
Spleen.
तो ग्रेवयार्ड में जिंदा को तो नहीं लेके जाएंगे ना. आफ्टर डेथ हो जाएगी तभी तो कोई ग्रेवयार्ड जाएगा. राइट और रॉन्ग?
Yes,
I'm talking about leaving somebody in graveyard, not just visiting graveyard. So we are going to relate this. Why spleen is the graveyard? The death process does not start in the graveyard. Keep in mind this, graveyard में after death जाएगा. RBC also. Disintegration जैसे hospital में start हो जाएगा, ऐसे मान लीजिए your hospital is the liver. Okay? Patient is serious, directly to you will not take him to graveyard, na? Or you will directly take him, chalo, let him take it directly to the graveyard. Why take him to the hospital? Where will you take him first, hospital or the graveyard?
Hospital.
So basically, the disintegration process will first start here. This is your liver. यहाँ पे problem start होएगा. Once the problem starts, it is in the liver. We have, like you have cells in the liver, which will help to complete disintegration process. Let us talk about those quacks. You know what are quacks? What are quacks, beta? You're a medical student.